All right. Now that we've got our pizza and we got our drink and we officially relieved ourselves in an outhouse, we're ready to enjoy Salt Lake. Man, it's a nice day. So I only have to worry about traffic coming from one direction, huh? One Direction. Isn't that like a boy band or something? R1. In shorts and Uggs. Are those Uggs? It's probably his girlfriend's boots. Like walk of shame. Alright folks, so for today's video, we'll be exploring Salt Lake and having the weekly story time. And the story I'll be sharing today is the story of how my iPhone 11 Max was stolen in Costa Rica, but how I got it back. Because this iPhone 11, this very iPhone 11, which you see mounted on my bike, is in fact the phone that I lost in Costa Rica. But I managed to get it back. And it's a crazy story, so I will go ahead and share that. So to kick things off, my girlfriend and I decided to take a trip to Costa Rica. And this was in October, November of last year. And for those of you who are used to traveling and know anything about Costa Rica, you probably know that October, November is usually not the time that you want to go to Costa Rica, because those are in fact the rainiest months of the year. It's right in the middle of Costa Rica's rainy season. But my girlfriend and I decided to take a trip during that time. And pro tip, if you want to go to Costa Rica for the cheapest duration possible, then you should go in October or November, because flight tickets will be cheapest. Hotel tickets will be cheapest. I mean, we were staying in 4- and 5-star hotels for a third the price. And I think I bought 2 flights 2 weeks in advance, down and back, folks, down and back, for like $600. So if you want to get to Costa Rica cheap, then you actually may want to look into traveling October, November. I would recommend it. We only caught one day of some heavy rain. Some really heavy rain. We actually almost drowned checking out the falls at La Fortuna and the volcano, but that was like our first day there after landing in San Jose. But after that, all sunshine and rainbows, folks, literally. We decided to travel to Guanacaste, Costa Rica. Guanacaste Province is the westernmost province on the Pacific side of Costa Rica. And we chose to go there because that westernmost province is the best place to go if you're trying to stay dry in the rainy season. You actually have a pretty good shot of experiencing sunny days while in Costa Rica. This is nuts. I don't think that this thing knows that I'm trying to get out of here, so... Oh, now it turns green. You fiend! Anyway, so we landed in San Jose. Those of you who've known me a while, followed me for a while, know that I'm trying to get into all the LDS temples in the world, because I've been in 108, including this one right here, which is currently being renovated. That's why you see the spires up there with that construction on it. That is the Salt Lake City Temple, those of you who are not from Utah. But yeah, so I wanted to visit the temple in San Jose, Costa Rica, which is the capital city of Costa Rica. So we did that our very first day, and that was a lovely experience. We met a lot of great members that day. After that, we spent one more day kind of in that same province or region right in the center of Costa Rica, visiting some of the spots like La Fortuna Falls, the volcano, La Fortuna. But after that, we head straight for Guanacaste. And there's actually a pretty funny story about how on the way to Guanacaste, well, it wasn't funny, it was just kind of a good experience, a warm-hearted experience, where we actually found a woman from Nicaragua and her 8-year-old daughter stranded in the middle of a rainforest while we were driving to Guanacaste in a downpour. And my girlfriend, being the sweet girl that she is, also a single mother, decided, hey, we better stop and help these guys out. So we did. We picked them up and we took them all the way out to Guanacaste, which is like 3.5 hours away, folks. Like it was a long ride with this family, but we took them out there. Anyways, after about 3.5 hours of driving, we reached our destination city of Tamarindo, which is kind of the tourist capital of the Guanacaste province. That's where all the gringos go. And I decided to go ahead and check out the best beaches on that province, just on that Pacific side. So that includes like Playa Flamingo, Playa San Juanillo, Playa Conchal. So Playa Conchal literally means shell beach in Spanish, and the reason that beach is so well known is because, and the reason it gets its name is because the sand there is made completely. Anyways, Playa Conchal gets its name because Conchal means shell, and the sand there is literally made of shells. So you've got this white, really soft sand that looks really cool in photos, and it's got crystal clear water. So it's like a really cool spot to visit, and that's where we decided to spend the day. And you know, me and my girlfriend, we went out there just enjoying the water, enjoying the sunshine, enjoying each other's presence. We were in each other's arms. I was looking into her eyes, and then of course I left my phone on the beach, which probably wasn't the best thing, but I left my phone there with all my stuff, you know. It wasn't like I just left my phone. I left a lot of stuff on a blanket, and pretty close to some folks I thought were trustworthy. So that's where I was. Now, this is what happens. Check this out. When we are ready to go, after a few hours of catching waves on the beach and holding each other and staring into each other's eyes, we decided to go ahead and leave. So we picked up our stuff and started leaving. I get about 50 yards away and I realize I forgot my phone. So I decide to go back and ask if anybody had seen my phone. Now get this, guys. As soon as I started asking folks, hey, have you seen my phone? This is the response I get from like a couple of guys. Hey, gringo, we saw you put your phone in your backpack. You definitely had it when you left, which is not true. And now that we know how the story unfolds, it was likely that the men that I asked about my phone were in fact involved in the stealing of my phone. So don't really appreciate that, but oh well. You'll see how this unfolds. So I decided it was a lost cause because I did look around, couldn't find it. So we drove back to the hotel, and the hotel was in Tamarindo, so this was about 20 minutes away from where I lost my phone. And I grabbed my Apple Watch and my iPad. I didn't have them with me on the beach. And I pull out my iPad and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna turn on Find My iPhone. I'm gonna see if I can find this phone. So that's what I do. And when I turn it on, sure enough, it found my phone. But my phone was no longer on the beach. It was at a bus stop, like 20 miles away. It was like 20 minutes away. And I remember thinking about that, thinking, well, we can head that way, but if it's at a bus stop, first of all, that means somebody took it. But second of all, it's not going to be there in 20 minutes. So maybe going after this thing will be a lost cause. But you know what? Something inside me said, you should go after this phone. And so I did. But first I had to consult the woman, you know, the girlfriend, and I explained to her, hey, I found my phone. But I don't know who has it. I don't know if it's one man. I don't know if it's two men. I don't know if it's a good man. I don't know if it's an armed man. So, what do you think? And of course, she, being the spiritual, practical woman that she is, responded with a question. Should we pray about this? And so we did. We said a prayer, and I have to say, folks, as a man of faith, after saying that prayer, I was ready to go. I was ready to get this guy. I was like, yeah, let's go get him. So I grabbed my watch and my iPad, and I have to say, I want to preface this by saying, just so you understand the urgency of the situation, one, the phone is moving. It is now 20 miles away from where I originally lost it. Someone clearly has it. That phone has less than 10% battery life, according to Find My iPhone. My watch had 15% battery life, and I think my iPad had like 7, all right? But we head off after this phone. So here's another thing, just to set the stage, to heighten the tension. My iPad does not receive Wi-Fi. It only receives data. And so along the way, as we get closer to the bus stop, I knew that I was going to have to find another spot to stop, set up shop, and ultimately try to find the iPhone again using the app. So I did. I found this little supermarket close to the bus stop, and sure enough, the phone had traveled another 20 miles, this time to a small city called Cartagena. Now, for those of you who are tourists who have traveled to Guanacaste Providence, just like I have, as that's a pretty well-known province amongst tourists, you probably are thinking, I've never even heard of Cartagena, and that's because no one has. It's a small town. It's got nothing for tourists. Nobody wants to visit there. But there the phone was, and I zoomed in, and kind of looking at Google Maps, I uncovered that my phone was inside a bar. And I'm thinking, okay, now I know where my phone is. Now I know it's going to be in a bar. There's inevitably going to be lots of people there. I don't know how I'm going to get this back, but I'm still going to go for it. So I did. And we drove there. We drove the 20 miles northeast to Cartagena. When I get to Cartagena, I scope the bar. The first thing I do is I drive to that bar and I scope it out, kind of see, what I'm dealing with. There's about 40 people in that bar, and it was just 4 poles and a little roof on top. The benches were outside the bar, and the bar was probably about 40 meters outside the main road, just on a dirt road there. It was a really small town, so it was in the middle of nowhere, and I'm thinking, you know what, if I go in there by myself and trouble ensues, I'm in trouble. Nobody's going to find me. They will kill me. I'm going to be dead, and they will not find the body. So they will kill me. They will cut my throat, and nobody is going to find me. So I continue to scout my resources. I scope the city a little bit, and lo and behold, I find a police car driving through the little small town of Cartagena, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to wave down this police officer. But I couldn't reach the police officer in time. The police officer was clearly heading somewhere on a beeline, and I ended up not waving him down in time before the cops stopped and entered a building. But to my fortune, I realized that the location that the cop was beelining to was in fact a police station. So now I know I've got all kinds of people that I can reach to. So I parked the car along the side of the road, probably about 30 meters from the police station. I told my girlfriend, hey, wait here. I'm going to walk in the police station. I'm going to talk with them. And that's what I did. I went in with my little iPad, my little Apple Watch, my little hat, my swim trunks, and I go into the police station, no kidding, with my hands in the air. And of course the police officers are a little startled that I just walked into the police station. But I go in with a smile, give them the old charm. And I have my hands in the air, and I say in my very best Spanish the following. Hello, I'm a tourist. Love your country. I have lost my phone. Somebody has stolen it, but I have this iPad, which has an application that says my phone is in that bar. And I would appreciate it if you all would kindly escort me to that bar and help me get my phone back. I wasn't sure what the reaction was going to be. First of all, you have to understand, Spanish is my third language. I served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Brazil, so Portuguese is my second language, and I speak it pretty well. Spanish I speak pretty well for a gringo, but it's not like I've had candid conversations like that with Costa Rican police, I haven't really had candid conversations with the U.S. police, with any police, really, and hope it stays that way. Anyways, to my pleasant surprise, they loved it. They were so excited about at the prospect of getting this phone back. So they took my iPad, they scoped it out, we talked about how we were going to go in there, we put together a battle plan, and then they said, all right, let's go. And then they strap on their bulletproof vests, they grab their rifles, and then they stuffed me into the back seat of their truck. They actually did. They escorted me to the back seat of their truck, and this is all happening outside. My girlfriend's watching as they're stuffing me into the back truck, and I'm standing outside the truck and waving and smiling because I was just trying to let her know, I'm going in this truck by my own free will and choice. But of course her eyes were just like, it was pretty funny. But anyways, so after that we drove to the bar. Now, this is where things get exciting, because for those of you who have Apple phones, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But for those of you who don't, if you have an Apple Watch, there is a feature where if you are close to your phone, then you'll get a little red dot that will appear at the top of your Apple Watch, and you can actually press a button and it will make a sound. You can find your phone that way. I've used it plenty of times. If you get too far away from your phone, on the other hand, you'll get a notification saying your phone's not within range. So obviously that was the notification that my watch was showing, that my phone was not in range. But as we creep up that road, that 40-meter road, back road into that bar, the little icon on my watch disappears, and the little red dot appears that says, "You have found your phone." And so I'm stoked, and I told the police officer, I found it, it's here. So I get out of the car, and right away I walk into this bar. And you have to understand, this is a Latino bar. There's music blaring, 40 people carrying on conversations. I had scoped this place out. I knew it wasn't going to be easy. I wasn't even sure if that little button that you press that causes the phone to make a sound would even work, considering how loud this bar was. But I took a chance. I got out of the car, and I start pressing the little button on my watch that's supposed to make the phone ping, but I can't hear a thing. Well, guys, to further add tension to the story, obviously I'm a white gringo in a Latino bar. I'm the only one there. I mean, I go salsa dancing all the time. I guess I'm used to that, right? But this is a little different, because I'm being escorted in with two police officers on either side of me, a woman and a man. And so the bar owner comes out and says, "Hey, can I help you?" And I say, "Yes, I've lost my phone. I have a little watch here that says my phone is here, and if I press a little button, I can figure out where it is." And he asked, "How can I help you?" And I said, "Well, you could turn the music down just a bit." Well, that bar owner then left and proceeds to turn the music completely off. Let me tell you something, folks. You want to start a fight? You want to cause a scene? Turn the music off at a Latino bar or event and see what happens. And that's exactly what he did. So now tensions are really high, because I'm just walking around in complete silence. Conversations have stopped. All eyes are on me. I'm just pressing this watch, and I'm thinking to myself, this is nuts. And the problem is, I'm not hearing anything. I've pressed that button to find my phone a million times. I could not for the life of me hear the beeping sound it typically makes. I'm thinking, this is a lost cause. Why have I come here? But then it occurs to me, you know what? The phone might not actually be with the person. The phone might be in the person's vehicle. I better check the vehicles before somebody drives off. So that's what I did. I walk out to the cars, start hitting the little button next to the cars, and sure enough, I start hearing that faint little beep that indicates that my phone is nearby, and I am just like jumping for joy at this point. So I turn to the police officer and I say, "Do you hear that sound?" And she listens, and she does hear that faint little beep, and she says, "Yes, I hear it." And I'm like, okay, that's my phone, and we're gonna find it. And so I finally find the car where the sound is coming from, and I look in the windshield, and it's sitting there on the dashboard. This phone on the dashboard. And I'm just like, that's my phone. That's my phone. I had traveled 40 miles. I had traveled across the world and 40 additional miles to find my phone, and I finally found it. So I told the police officer, this is my phone. And then the police officer asks everyone at the bar, whose car is this? And get this, guys, the owner of that vehicle just happened to be sitting at one of those benches, you know, that sort of surrounded the bar, right in front of the car. And he turned around immediately and said, "It's mine. Listen, that phone, I found it. I tried to call someone. I tried to I tried to find the owner. I couldn't. It's not my fault. I'm innocent." And immediately, the male officer grabs the guy. The female officer pulls me aside and says, "Listen to me, young man. We know who that man is. He's from Nicaragua, And he's been selling drugs to our citizens in these streets. And we've never been able to prove anything. Now we have something. He has stolen your phone. And he says he didn't steal it. And he's going to say he was trying to help you. He's lying. I'm going to ask if you're going to press charges. And I need you to say yes. Do you understand? And I nodded. And then they opened they had the man open the door. I got my phone back. I called my girlfriend and said, hey, guess what? I found my phone. And then they take us to the police station. Us and the man who stole my phone. So they take all three of us down to the station. And folks, I literally was standing in the same room as the man who stole my phone as he's pleading his case, as he's screaming he's innocent. I'm standing there with him, filling out the paperwork that essentially says, hey, I'm a tourist in this country and I'm pressing charges. And I was just blown away that they would put the prosecutor and the culprit, you know, in the same room. I just thought that would not work in the United States or Brazil, or something would erupt, a fight or something like that. But here the man is with his wife, by the way, pleading innocence. And I'm just standing in the same room as him. And there's actually a time where they made us wait outside in a car by the police station and they made us wait while they continued to interrogate the man who stole my phone. I'm just thinking, all this guy has to do is call up his buddies and said, that gringo, he's parked right outside this police station. You should light him up. I just kept thinking, man, this is just not safe. This is not the way that we would handle, you know, a case like this in the United States. We just wouldn't do it. But that's how they chose to handle it. So my girlfriend and I waited kind of uncomfortably there, just making sure that everybody who drove by, everybody who walked by wasn't peeking at us too much. But of course, I'm as white as they come, so I just stick out like a sore thumb, you know. The point is, I got my phone back. They pressed charges against this man. And I kept wondering, like, why so severe? Like, why did they take my case so seriously? Like, what's wrong with that? Well, it turns out that in the economy of Costa Rica, the largest contributor to the Costa Rican economy is tourism. That is the biggest industry they have. And so any crimes on tourists, the Costa Rican police take very seriously. Because if word gets around that tourists come to Costa Rica and they are robbed or assaulted or murdered in any way, then it will seriously impact the way that their economy functions. And so they prosecute those people hardcore. All right, let's see what's going on here. I wonder if this is where people are protesting now. Oh, they are. I guess I went to the wrong spot. Yep, I was looking for protesters. I was trying to find them at Capitol Hill. Turns out they were here the whole time at the town hall. Let's do a Yui. Let's check this out. Anyways, so the moral of the story is this. If you're in a bind and you need help, you can rely on the Costa Rican police. They've got you. I actually want to thank the Costa Rican police. I'm sure they don't watch my channel. I'm not that important. But if they do, thank you so much for helping me find my phone. Actually, that's the one thing that I'll say when I conclude is that I remember the police officer after I got my phone back. Hang on a second. This is actually the Ferrari dealership that somebody tried to steal a Tesla out of during the riots. Yikes. I guess they ended up like giving up, but they scratched the Tesla real bad. My thing is, like, there were Ferraris in there, a Lamborghini. Why try to steal the Tesla, man? Any other car in there is better than the Tesla. Anyways, no offense, Tesla. So anyways, the police officer asked me, what's that phone valued at? And I said, oh, you know, I think I said something like $1,200, $1,200 US dollars. She said, I don't know what that means in colones, which is the Costa Rican currency. So I pulled out my little calculator on this phone that I have now found and typed it in for her. It came out to like over 1 million colones. which this woman saw and she just about fainted. She was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we helped you find that, da, da, da. Anyways, she felt really good about helping me out, and frankly, I felt really good about it. That's story time for today, folks. Tune in next week for the latest stories. Like and subscribe, folks. Chinja Ninja, out.